Hey guys, it's Destiny, and Luocha's official kit got revealed, and I thought I'd discuss how good his official kit can be and mention any changes that may have occurred that can either be beneficial or not the greatest. Without further ado though, let's get straight into it. Hoyo Lab, which is made by HoYoverse, officially revealed Luocha's kit, which is quite similar to the knowledge we knew about him previously, such as he's an imaginary abundance character who scales off of attack, he has his Abyss Flower field, and so on. To begin with this kit, for those who aren't aware or familiar with what Luocha does, his skill allows him to cleanse an ally to remove a debuff from them, which is very useful against numerous boss enemies, as they can inflict you with debuffs which can often hinder your main DPS or supportive character's potential and capabilities during a fight, and can result in more turns being taken up during modes like Memory of Chaos or possibly even losing a fight. So a mixture of cleansing and healing is very beneficial, as shown with a character like Natasha. Luocha also has a unique emergency heal where if an ally falls below 50%, then he'll heal them immediately with his skill. This can occur every few turns, however, it's still really useful and can be used as a clutch in case you take a bit more damage than expected during a battle, or an enemy decides to fully target a more frail character on your team, which can be your supports or even your DPS. So having this heal overall is very useful. He also gains a stack of Abyss Flower when he uses his skill, and once he has 2 stacks, he'll be able to summon his field. His ultimate takes away 1 buff from enemies and is also an AoE imaginary attack, which will be our first form of AoE buff removal onto enemies, and he can also gain 1 stack of Abyss Flower doing this. His technique allows him to summon the Abyss Flower field immediately once battle commences, and his talent is the field itself, which allows any ally to gain back HP each time they attack the enemy when the field is active. This is based on Luocha's attack, and one last thing I'd like to mention about his field is that it lasts 2 turns. So that's definitely a thing to keep in mind when it comes to possible rotations and keeping uptime on his field. Now that you know the basics of Luocha, I'd like to mention the main things that changed from his old kit in beta from roughly a year ago, which a few have been looking at to have an idea of what he does, to his official kit, which is 2 of his traces. Before we do that, if you're enjoying the video so far and want to see more from me, hit the subscribe button and now let's carry on to his traces. His previous traces allowed him to get more energy regeneration, I believe from his ultimate, cleanse an ally through skill, and he could not take more than roughly about 70 to 80% damage from a single hit based on his max HP from an enemy, which allowed him to have more survivability due to the fact that he scales off of attack. A lot of people have the concern that he may be a bit more squishy, but the fact that he had this old trace would mean that he would not be able to get one-shotted from an initial attack, so he would still be able to stay well and alive on the field. His official kit, however, allows for the same cleansing trace, but the 2 other traces have changed. One of his traces allows your allies to recover HP when the Abyss Flower field is active, and this is when one of your allies attacks the enemy. For example of what this means, when the field is active, let's say you have a DPS like Zila on the team and she attacks the enemy, she will recover health based on Luocha's field, which is through his talent, and your teammates will also recover a certain amount of health based on Zila attacking the enemy. Just whoever attacks the enemy is able to allow the entire team to get healing through this trace, which this results in very consistent healing and consistent group healing as well. I think this trace is honestly a major upgrade compared to his old traces, as now your team can all benefit from the field, and now your supports who primarily buff your team rather than attack can still recover HP based on your other teammates attacking the enemy. So overall, this trace is incredibly powerful, and I think Zila or Sushang and Luocha will make an incredible combination due to how they can both attack numerous times in a turn depending on their conditions to do so, as Zila would use Resurgence and Sushang would use her ultimate, which results in a lot of healing for your team due to how frequently both of these characters can attack in turn orders. Another character that may come to mind for this, and if it does work I think will be incredibly powerful, is Clara. The way Clara works is that she counterattacks the enemies quite frequently whenever they attack her, or if she uses her ultimate and the enemy attacks an ally, she will also still counterattack them. This is Clara's way of doing a lot of damage on the enemy. So if her follow-up slash counter attacks can work with the field, I think this will be incredibly powerful, as now Clara will be able to allow that consistent healing even when the enemy attacks, because she's attacking the enemy, and now your whole team will recover health, including herself. I really hope this can work, and with that trace or even his field in general, she will be able to synergize with it, because if she can, I think Luocha and Clara could possibly be a pretty good combo as well, because she would be able to mass heal the team due to how often she'll be getting attacked, as her skill kit allows for a lot of aggro on her, just a lot of taunt in general. So I think Clara can actually be really powerful with this combination if it works the way I'm thinking it may work. And if it does, of course, I'll test this once he's out. I really do hope it works that way, because if it does, I feel like it'll have a lot of potential overall. As for his final trace through the valley, now it increases his resistance to crowd control, which is nice to have as well, since now he won't be easily affected, or as easily affected rather, by crowd control such as freezes, imprisonment, Kafka's domination, and so on. This is especially useful due to the fact that if he can negate a crowd control debuff, then he can effectively cleanse your team as much as possible and remove their debuffs. Such as, for example, if Kafka is able to dominate, let's say Luocha and another ally, but because of his crowd control resistance, he's able to negate this, so he's not even affected by it, it doesn't matter to him. Instead, now he can skill and cleanse the ally who has that debuff inflicted on them, so they will not be affected by the domination once it triggers in the turn order. So overall, I think that Trace can be really good in situations like those, especially if he's able to effectively negate a lot of crowd control debuffs overall. Ultimately though, Luocha's traces in his official kit, in my opinion, add a lot of value to his base kit, as they can allow for consistent group healing and can allow your team to stay alive pretty well overall, at least in my eyes. Of course, I will test this, as I plan to pull him the day he comes out to test out his potential, especially in modes like MOC, as some have concerns once again that he may be a bit too squishy due to him scaling off of attack. So I think it'll be a good thing to test him overall, just see how the healing flow is, see if that Clara thing I mentioned work, see if his field does heal enough, if the scaling is good, see if his survivability for himself is good, and so on. And if you are on the fence about pulling this character, I would definitely wait to see videos like those just to see him in action to determine if you truly want this character or not. As for leveling him up, here are the official materials, which I have covered more in depth in a prior video as to how to prepare for Luocha before he comes out, as he needs a good amount of these materials, and I also went over what relics you may want to get for him in a prior video as well. Overall though, I think Luocha's official kit looks very promising, especially his new traces, or I guess maybe they're not new because it's his official kit and it's not like they officially went from one thing to the other. I don't know, I just think it's technically new because closed beta from like a long while ago had certain traces, but now nice and new shiny traces. I don't know, you guys can let me know what you think, I guess. And I cannot wait to test, of course, his character overall, see what he could do for survivability for my teammates and all of that good stuff. If you guys want to see my guide on Luocha and more from me, make sure to subscribe, leave a like of course to support the video, and let me know what's your favorite ice cream flavor. For me personally, it's just vanilla, but in my opinion, you can't really go wrong with a vanilla soft serve. I just think they're really good. At least for me personally, it's my favorite. I hope all of you, of course, have a nice one. Peace.